Hey everybody, welcome to Life at Sunny Lee with Kathy Jarvis. And can you believe another week has gone by? It's starting to get cooler during the day. The leaves are starting to fall. And that means there's a lot more things to do. Plus the fact that Friday night I couldn't sleep. I was worried about the dog. She was having trouble walking with her arthritis and stuff. So I started looking on the computer for ways to help her, and I went down the rabbit hole. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning when I really hit pay dirt. I found this article on how to do physical therapy for dogs that have hind leg problems. So Saturday I watched that over and over again, taking notes, trying to learn how to do the different things and putting them to use on her. And we spend every day now at least an hour doing physical therapy, three 10-minute walks. She's only up to about, there's a bee, she's only up to about 7 minutes before she tires and has to rest a little bit. So we're improving. It started out only 5 minutes, so by the end of the week we were up to 7 minutes. And some days she does really good. Some days we have to have the wheelchair to get the walk in. Massaging her legs, learn how to do that, and to extend the toes because they cramp up. Arthritis, you know how your hands cramp with arthritis? Her toes do the same thing. So I have to extend the toes and massage them to get the blood flowing back there, and to do different exercises like make her step up and leave her front legs up higher and her back legs down low, just so she learns to bounce and use them a little bit. To walk over obstacles, do C curls, which means you take a treat and hold it towards her hips and she has to turn her head and kind of arch her body around in a C. She can do it on one side, she can't do it on the other side very well. So we're working on that. So it takes about an hour each day, not all at once, kind of spaced out, to do her physical therapy, which is taking up time, which that's all right, as long as it's helping her. And like I said, not yesterday, it was Wednesday. She had a great day. She was out in the yard, walking around, getting up and walking up by herself without any help, trying to go after the cats. And then on Thursday wasn't a good day. It had rained and the grass was damp and she had some trouble walking on it. And you know how it is with arthritis. When it gets wet and damp, your bones hurt and stuff. But I have noticed that she is starting to pull away a little when I do the exercises on her feet, which shows me that she's starting to feel things in there a little bit better. So that's good. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. And I'm very grateful for the article and for the YouTube channel I found. And I did some more research later on in the week and found some other things that have been helpful. Some of the things I already have found out on my own, and that's like you cannot leave them in the wheelchair unattended because they will tip it over. I did find that out the hard way, but she's okay from it. Yeah, and I really wasn't leaving her by herself. I just wasn't really close to her at the time. You know, I was out there with her, so I caught it, but it did knock her over a little. So those are different little things. It was a good article, a good YouTube channel. Her dog unfortunately had DM, which once it onsets, it usually is gone. The dog usually only lives maybe a year and a half at the most. So unfortunately her dog passed, but it was a learning experience that I could relate to with my dog as far as the back hind legs having problems. Now, Shoes has not been diagnosed with that, and she's been diagnosed with arthritis and that bad tear on her leg, which he says basically is where the arthritis set in. And then she also has a growth on the side of her, on the side that she can't do the C curl on. She has a growth there. But he's tested it, and he says it's not cancerous and not to worry about it. But it is getting larger, and I'm wondering if that could be some of her problem. But, yeah, it is what it is, and I can only go by what the vet suggests for it. And he, with her age and her being a little bit overweight, well, she's not anymore, but she was overweight at the time, he decided that it was best just to leave it be. So that's what I've been doing most of the week, is with her. And then of course the cats, we had the flea problem with them, so I was combing them in the morning, and I was combing them at night to get the fleas off. And I think I stopped combing them in the morning on Thursday, because I got no fleas off of them in the morning. And that evening I only got one flea off of one cat. So the DIY spray and the combing has really helped. And Thursday and Friday I combed them, but I didn't find any fleas. So that was good. On Monday was a busy day. He was working on the shed, so I was doing the soffits. So I was trying to feed the animals and trying to run out and help him. And wherever I did hit anything, I'd run and I'd feed another animal, and then he'd ask for help again. I'd go back and help him. So I was running back and forth. And I think the poor cats didn't get out until like noon. And I had to put them up again at 3 because we had to leave at 4 to go to Indianapolis. His brother was getting his 50th year as a Mason. They get a pin and a ceremony and a nice dinner. So we went up, we were invited up to that, to witness that. So we did that. It was interesting. His other brother had gotten his pin last year or beginning of this year. I don't remember which. It was close. And his ceremony was completely different. So it was interesting to see the different celebrations. With his, he was the only one being celebrated. This time we had 3 that were actually there and a 4th one who wasn't able to be present. So that was interesting. It was nice. It was nice seeing the family. And one of the aunts was there, and Darlene, and then Uncle John and Uncle Don were there. And Uncle John's family was there. So it's nice getting to see them again. And we had a very nice dinner. And we came home and took care of the animals. I had gotten all the cats up before except for one. And he was waiting at the door. And it was so funny. The cats are not used to seeing me dressed up. Now I was in a dress. So I opened the door to let the cat in to the garage. And that cat took one look at me and it high-skittled out. So I had to go upstairs and change clothes to my regular clothes. Come back down and call the cat. For the cat to come to me. So I got a big laugh out of that. I thought that was so funny. So we had a good time. On Tuesday, he worked on the shed some more, and I took the opportunity to actually work in the garden. Most of the summer crops are gone. We still got some tomatoes outside. But all the other, and the sweet potatoes are still going. But everything else outside, in the outside gardens, has died back. So it's ready, it's time to clean those beds up. And I'm making some major changes this year on the outside garden. I had 8 garden beds that I used for summer crops, spring and summer crops. And then I have some other garden beds that have permanent things in them, like asparagus and, you hear my frog back there, that has asparagus and strawberries in them. So of the 8 beds that we had outside, I'm going to eliminate some of them because we put 4 new beds into the greenhouse. So I figure I can cut the outdoor beds in half and only have 4 outdoor beds that I'll use for regular crops. And the only crops I'm going to grow outside, I think, are going to be the sweet potatoes, the okra, and the cauliflower and broccoli. The things I don't do too well with, that I'm still experimenting with, I'll put those outside because I'm not going to use the good greenhouse space for things that I have trouble growing. And so I'm just going to have like 4 beds, and everything else is going to be in the greenhouse. I got my lettuce, my spinach, my Swiss chard, my kale, my peppers, my peas, and my green beans, the corn, and the cucumbers did really well inside the greenhouse. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on inside the greenhouse. Now, tomatoes, I've got a few inside the greenhouse, but I've got the tomato trellis, which we built 2 years ago, which I really love. I had problems with it this year, not because of the trellis itself or because of the tomatoes, but because it's right next to the melon patch. And the melons, usually they go towards the south. This year, they grew towards the north. So they grew right smack into my tomatoes. So I had a problem with the tomatoes, being able to even get to the tomatoes, to weed them or to harvest them because of all the melon vines. We had pumpkins, we had watermelons, we had cantaloupe, and we had butternut squash, all in that area. So I'm going to change that out. I'm just going to put, I'm going to put 2 different patches. I'm going to make a patch of pumpkins and watermelons, and then in another area where my potatoes were at this year, I'm going to make for probably the cucumbers, the cantaloupes, and the butternut squash. Those 2 did not do well this year. The squash bugs came and got both of them before they even produced good fruit. And the I keep calling my cantaloupes cucumbers. My cantaloupes did fine. The problem was I couldn't see them. The watermelon kind of went over them, and so when I finally saw that there was a cantaloupe in there, it was already too late. They'd already fallen off and rotted. So I needed to put the cantaloupe in a spot where they're not overshadowed by other vines, and so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I've been doing a lot of research on vertical growing on cantaloupes, and see if I can fix up something this winter to grow my cantaloupes vertically. So we'll see if that works out. And I'm also going to try it with the, if I find a good trellis, I'll do it with the pumpkins and the watermelons. Or at least I'm going to put a barrier fence up between the tomatoes and the melons, so that they don't go across the path. If I put a fence up, even if it's just a snow fence, like once they get past that stage, I can turn them around and push them back the other way. And I'm also going to put a raised bed around the tomato trellis. That way, even if they do get up to the bed, they won't go. I'll be able to turn them back around before they go up into the tomatoes. And I'll be able to harvest the tomatoes easier and take care of them. And also the ground, we have a big drought this year, and the ground got very, very hard, and even with watering, I just could not keep the things that were in the ground with enough water. Now the raised beds outside did fine. You watered them, they held the water, and they did really well. So I'm going to put a raised bed around the whole trellis, and like 24 feet of raised beds just around that trellis itself. But I've been working on cleaning that out, and I had some little trees grow up. We cut down the big tree, and when I cut down that big tree, all the little roots decided that, oh, we have to make a new tree. So I have a little forest out there that I have to keep cutting down. So I have to take care of that problem before I put this raised bed down. So I'm going to put the raised bed, I'm going to put some fabric underneath it, and then I'm going to put some cardboard on top of that before I put the soil in, and then plant the tomatoes in that soil. It'll be 12 inches above the regular ground. So that should give the tomatoes enough space to grow, and by the time the tomatoes are in there, that cardboard should be pretty much disintegrated. And I'm not worried too much about the fabric. The fabric it's an older fabric, and I got it on sale for like $5 or something, and it disintegrates real quick. So I'm not worried about it. I'll just put a couple layers of that down just to kind of help a little bit to keep the trees from growing. We'll see how that works out. Anyway, I did that on Tuesday. And Wednesday, we were planning on staying home, and I was going to work in the garden again. But we got a call from the mower place saying that our son's mower was ready. And he was off that day, so we loaded the mower up and took it up to his house and dropped it off and took him out for lunch. And so that pretty much took the whole day. By the time we got home, it was time to do her physical therapy and feed him and get him up for the night and go from there. Thursday was a little wet, so she had some trouble walking, but it made working in the garden a little bit easier. He worked in the shed, and I worked on the trellis again. Not trellis, but on the trellis, the tomato trellis, cleaning that up. So I'm slowly getting that done. And then on Friday this morning, I started putting the metal bed around the trellis. I started putting that together. So that has been our week. It's, like I said, it's fall, trying to get things done before it gets winter, trying to get that shed done. We did get an estimate on the doors, so now we just got to decide which one we're going to go with. That's another project that will soon be in the books. Hopefully we'll get it done before this winter and get these cats out there. We still have to do the interior. He wants to put some insulation in there. So it's getting closer, but it's not done. And same thing with my garden. I've got big plans for it. So I just got to get out there and get it done. So hope you had a good week. And remember, dream big, follow that dream. And I'll see you in the next video. God bless. Bye.